So yeah, great. Welcome everyone to a brand new 2023 Plauti product update. It's fantastic to have you all here today, and I hope you are as excited as I am for the latest Plauti products update. And I guess we can just start with a brief introduction of your host for today, shall we? So yeah, your most illustrious here on the right, Nicola, is joined by Ruben today. We will be showcasing our most recent product updates and more. And of course, we, together with over 2,500 happy customers, are Plauti, generating data happiness since 2012. Plauti is the company behind Plauti Data Management Suite, Duplicate Check, Record Validation, and Data Action Platform. But of course, most of you today know us, the company being behind Duplicate Check, our most known solution for data quality, which helps you to find, merge, and prevent duplicates from any point of entry and with autopilot fashion. Duplicate Check offers the best flexibility on duplicate management, and it's 100% native force.com, with advantages not only on the adoption side, but also on the possibility to customization and implementation. Then more, we have record validation on our roster, our solution to validate and format email addresses and phone numbers. With record validation, you can have data not just bring you more confidence, so at a higher level, but also achieve the best targeting and segmenting for mass target campaigns. And of course, to help your RevOps people to reach effectively to your prospects with valid information. Our recent Salesforce Toolkit Data Action Platform, it is our mass actions tool enabler. So it enriches Salesforce platform with the ability to create power users. Data actions can be run via different execution methods that are granted to the empower user alike, and all the activities are tracked in the audit log for monitoring and analytic purposes. And of course, last but not the least, our Plauti Data Management Suite, which is our complete data management solutions that enables your Salesforce to be your single source of truth by deduplicating, validating, and consolidating all and standardizing, of course, records in your CRM. On top of that, Plauti Data Management offers on its package a tailored service of support of adoption, implementation, and customizations for the solution with your current data management challenges and direct support channels to rely on. All Plauti solutions are force.com native. We do provide Salesforce safety peace of mind. And of course, we share the same strong security logic and processes, and we provide a more efficient implementation thanks to the full integration with your Salesforce business logic and custom processes. And of course, this is exactly the reason why all of the Plauti partners in high data quality have chosen our solutions to build their true 360 view within Salesforce and enabling it a true single source of truth for making their data-driven actions more strategically accurate and efficient to achieve their goals in a much less painful pace. But of course, on today's agenda, me and Ruben today will showcase the latest update. So we're gonna, of course, spend a little bit more time on that action platform, showcase you the most recent actions to execute Apex classes, and of course, the update DAP assignments. We are going also to cover our most popular product, Duplicate Check, in its new look in a DC job overview. So it's a new enhanced functionalities for managing duplicates, records, and new features for a cleaner and more intuitive interface with our data quality solution. And of course, we are also going to officially present to you our cloud-based processing option to Duplicate Check users, Plauti Cloud. This is a new processing options which makes Duplicate Check the only solution in the market that offers 3 different ways to process your mass duplicates and consolidation jobs. A faster, high data volume ready, and secure way to perform your data quality in Salesforce. But more on this, of course, later. Yeah, of course, we are now ready for our demo time. And being time for action, I will leave the floor to Ruben. You can take it away, man.
Thanks, Nicola. trying to start my video, but that's not working. So I guess you have to do without a picture of me. Today, I'm going to show you what we did in our latest release. As you probably know, our production release was last week, Monday, the 3rd of April, in which we released very nice new additions to our tools, and some of which I'm going to show to you today. We did a lot more. If you're interested in what we did besides what I'm showing you today, feel free to visit our knowledge base at plaudy.com/support, where you can find release notes. And there you can see exactly what is new in the apps that is now live in everyone's production instances. So today in the demo, we are going to talk about the Data Action Platform with the latest new addition to the action library called Run Apex class, which is pretty awesome. Also, I'm going to show you a couple new assignment options that we've built into the Data Action Platform that can help you having more control in who has access to what. Then we're going to talk about the new DC Job Overview, which is now released in a beta version. And of course, the Plaudy Cloud Edition, which is exciting as well, which we presented in a beta version as well. And we're going to check them all out. So yeah, let's first dive into the latest feature in Data Action Platform, our Run Apex class. So imagine that the team in Salesforce can automate a complex task whenever they want without needing technical expertise from, for example, a consultant or a developer. With the new addition to Data Action Platform, Run Apex class, this is becoming a reality. The ability to run any DAP-compatible class as an action in the DAP action library means that non-technical users can now automate their tasks with custom functionality. Now, Apex allows for the execution of custom functionality that goes beyond what standard Salesforce or DAP actions can accomplish, opening up a whole new world of possibilities. And you can run an Apex class on a single record or on a selection of records from a list view, from Salesforce flows, that's a new addition that we have as well, or from the DAP batch job page, which you can also schedule to run at a frequency and time that you decide yourself, giving you the flexibility to automate your processes in a way that suits your needs best. And of course, like with all the actions that we have and how you can execute them, we can ensure accountability and transparency because Data Action Platform logs everything in the audit log. So every action that is taken within the platform. So you can see exactly who made what changes to records and when they did it, which is a valuable feature for data quality management and compliance, of course. But let's dive into Salesforce too, so I can show you a couple examples of what we did. For that, I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen, Nicola? Yeah, yep. Right? Yep. Cool. So if you visit our knowledge base at plaudy.com/support, then you can find an article that demonstrates how we can create a custom action and add it to the action library based on your own Apex class. And to do that, you have to implement the DAP interface. And I understand that for many of you, this might be a little bit difficult to understand, but we need to implement the DAP interface that we've created so that your class that you want to run with Data Action Platform is compatible with our tool. And the interface is actually pretty simple. It consists out of a few methods. One is the process records methods. And in the process record methods, you basically write down the logic in Apex, what you want to do with that record. And we have an audit log summary method as well, in which you can define a log line for the audit log that we have within the Data Action Platform, and an action summary. And the action summary is basically a summary that we present to the user before we start that action. I can understand this is pretty abstract, but I'm going to make sure that in the live demo in a second will be more clear. So when should you use something like this? So you use something like this when you want to execute some logic in Salesforce that go beyond what Salesforce can do, that go beyond what Data Action Platform, the standard actions can do. And we got some requests from customers for logic that the standard functionalities in Salesforce and DAP were not able to do. For example, that led to the creation of this class. So we had a customer and they wanted to validate IBAN numbers, so bank account numbers. And if an IBAN number is valid, they wanted to update the checkbox stating that the bank account number is valid. And if it's not valid, they want to update the checkbox indicating that the bank account number is not valid. And if it's not valid, then they want to create a task and link it to that record, assign it to the record owner, and the task should reflect a message that we ask the lead owner, in this case it's for leads, to reach out to this lead to collect the correct IBAN number via call. So there are a couple of things happening here. First of all, we have to do a validation check on the IBAN number. Then we're updating a field that defaults to true or false, whether the IBAN number is valid or not. And as a follow-up action, we create a task if it's not valid, asking for a correct IBAN number via call. So these are three things that we do in a single action, and the DAP standard actions are not capable of this. Also in Salesforce, this is quite difficult. So this is a reason why you could decide to use the Run Apex class feature in Data Action Platform. Now, how does it work? So I've got this, this class over here. So I can now go to the Data Action Platform in Salesforce. And I can go to a list view, for example, my leads list view. And you can see here in my list view, I've added those fields. So bank account is valid, yes or no, and the bank account numbers, which I can then select. And as you probably know, in Data Action Platform, we can start our actions from a list view. We can do that by clicking the action launcher. And the new action Run Apex class is now part of the action launcher because it's assigned to my profile. So I can click next. And here I can select the Apex class I would like to run. And the Apex class that I'm using or want to use is called Validate IBAN Process. You can see that it's going to execute this class for 14 records. Here we will see the description, which was part of the audit summary method in the interface that we provide, and an action name, and then we can start it. So we're now running this class on the selection of records in bulk, and this is exactly what you can do as well. So you can assign this action or the use of this action to a particular group of users in your Salesforce environment if you want to. And they can run it then via a list view or from a batch context or even from Salesforce flows. And as you can see, if we look at the checkboxes here, many of the IBAN numbers is valid and 2 are not valid. So when I open up Irma Jimenez, and if I go to the activity tab, you will see that a task is created, invalid bank account number with a high priority. Within the comments, the lead Irma Jimenez has an invalid bank account number. Please reach out by phone to collect the correct IBAN number. So yeah, 3 actions in 1 action is basically based on Run Apex class. And yeah, pretty valuable because this allows you to open up a ton of possibilities, write them in Apex, create a custom action for it, and assign it to users of your choice so that they can execute it at the time and place that they choose themselves. Now, if we go to the DAP setup, then we can find the audit log here. And here you can see exactly what we did, because then again, everything that we do in DAP is tracked in the audit log, which is really important. So you can see that Run an Apex class is ran on 14 records, and in the info module, I can find additional information about what I did. Now, another thing that we can do, if you want to make this easy for your users, and if you want to close off anything that they can do that you don't want them to do, then we can create a macro based on the Run Apex class action. Now we can do that from the action library. And here on the top right in the action library, I can create a new macro. In this view, you can see, by the way, all the actions that are currently in my action library. And I can create a macro based on run Apex class. I can then click next, and I can create basically a custom action, which I can add to my action library. I'm going to call this one IBAN validator. Then I can pick a custom icon, for example, this one.
That's pretty
Click
neat.
next. Yeah, right. Then I can select the Apex class I want to have as a base for this custom action. We have to set a chunk size. Well, a chunk size basically allow you to process actions like this quicker if the Apex class that you're running is not so complex. And if you have a complex flow, then you set a low chunk size. If you don't have a complex flow, you set a higher chunk size. So it's something that we need to define here. I'm going to put in 15 for now. I'm going to click next. And then I'm going to create. So now the IBAN validator is a new action in my action library based on the Apex class that we just saw. And by default, it's not yet assigned to my users. So no one is able to access this macro right now. And if I go to the assignments button at the right side, then I can decide who has access to this macro and at what object level. So at the top, I can do this based on profiles. And at the bottom, I can do it for individual users if I want to. Since I'm the system administrator, I'm going to enable this IBAN validator action for all the execution methods. So job, schedule job, list views, and the duplicate check job results. And since I've created this one specifically for leads, I'm going to make sure that it's only accessible for me in the lead object, so not in the account object or contact object, because this class is written for the lead object. I can now save it. And now you'll see that IBAN validator is available for the system administrator. So this assignment system allows me to decide as an administrator, as the one who sets up data action platform, who has access to what power action and in what capacity, which can help you keep control in who has access to what, and also in who can do what, and also limit the damage that they can do using these powerful tools in the end. So if I now go to the DAP job, I just did it from the lead overview. And if I create a new batch job on the top right, then I can say validate all IBAN numbers. Then I can select the object which I would like to run this in. It's a lead object. Then if I want to, I can add a filter because I only want to validate bank account numbers that have a value, of course, so I can speed up the runtime of my job. So the bank account number cannot be empty. Then I'm clicking next. So instead of now using the run Apex class, I can use the IBAN validator. And the IBAN validator is a macro, so I cannot change anything here. So that's why it's ideal to give a macro to your end users, right? Because you don't want your end users to change anything in configuration. You don't want them to access a list of classes that they need to know which one to pick. But you want to set it ready for your end users so that they can just fire whatever is set ready for them. And then we can start that batch job. And batch jobs, of course, are designed to run on a really large set of data. And this is exactly what this is capable of. So if I want to, I can validate all the IBAN numbers in a database of 1 million records, for example. And all the IBAN numbers that are not valid will now have a task which is assigned to the record owner so that they can reach out and retrieving the correct task, the correct IBAN number, of course. So that's a great, one of the great use cases. Just two other things in a nutshell that I've created using this new feature. One of them is also upon a request of a client. They wanted to be able to delete accounts, but in the same time, they want to delete any related child contacts in one go. So they used the run Apex class action. For example, I can show you here by opening the contacts. We've got Long Beach Medical Center here with 4 contacts. If I go to the account, Long Beach Medical Center, and open up the action launcher, there is a custom action in here that deletes accounts and related contacts. Well, this is actually a macro based on a class that I've created specifically for this. And this custom action will not only delete the account, but also delete any related child contacts as part of the action itself. So things like this, making certain processes more efficient, quicker, doing more complex things than an update or a single delete or a change of ownership is possible with the run Apex class action, which you can turn into macros, which you can turn into custom actions. So pretty neat there, right, Nicola? I guess we have a poll around this subject. So
yes, let's launch it right away. Because of course we have showcased a few use cases here, but we would like to hear from you. So we are launching this poll, and we want to understand like which of the following best describe how you will use Apex classes in your Salesforce environment. And of course, like, it's a multiple choices, so you're free to actually select as many as you are actually using. And there's a little bit more to read, so I will leave it up for, let's say, probably a couple of minutes. And for those that are actually clicking on others, we would like to hear it from you. So drop it in the chat, or make us aware on what you have in mind. So yeah, let's see, back from the poll results, it seems that a lot of our attendees are actually doing, running custom Apex to suffice the lack of Salesforce capabilities, right? And right after it, there's of course like another like a very common use case, which is like updating records with data from external sources, so external database or APIs. All right, I guess that we can end the poll. And thank you again for your valuable information. We would like to hear from you, of course, on the others use cases. So feel free to drop it in the chat at any time. But yeah, you can go over, Ruben.
Yeah, cool. Let's move forward with the next topic. So the next topic is about duplicate check and all the changes that we brought in the latest release. One of them is the new job overview. A couple of months ago, we started with the results page, which we can access here. We brought the results page to Lightning design with a fresh user interface, which is quicker. And there are some additional features in this page, such as sharing a page with someone that can then process the results that are set ready for them. And as a next step, the job overview was on the list. So we've introduced this as a beta version, which means that we can still deactivate and go back to the to the old job overview that we're now seeing. So feel free to use whatever you think is better for you. But the new job overview, the beta version, is going to have some new features that the old page is not getting. Some of it is already in there, but we also have some really nice plans for developing this page further, and I'm going to show you that today. So we're looking now at the job overview, and you can see that I already ran some jobs in the past. And the way that we've set up this page is that every job card should basically reflect the life cycle of a job. So we always start with a find duplicates job. That's how a card gets created. So we got a job for the contact object, account object, which has a filter here, a cross object job, and a lead job. And we always start with the find duplicates task. And for the contact card, you can see that after finding duplicates initially, an auto merge was started on higher than 10% even, which eventually merged 6 of the duplicates. So basically, if I do a follow-up action now, for example, I'm going to export my results, or I'm going to share my results, or whatever I want to do, then the job card will reflect every step that I'm taking in this job. Also, with the new update, we are going to store what was done in terms of manual merging and manual converting in the job. And we're going to show merge logs in the info tab, which is going to be really nice. So we're going to even more going to show you the life cycle of a job. So we're going to show you the duplicates that were initially found, then whatever you have processed in terms of merging and converting. So we're going to track everything, and eventually, the entire life cycle from A to Z. What happens with your duplicates from finding them to merging them, who did it, and so on and so on. So on the top right, we can start a new job. So let's see how that looks like, in which we can define the job names, the same that was also in the previous page. So for example, find dupes in leads. Then we select the object that we want to work with. And you can see that we've added, for example, search options, which were not available in the previous version, making the usability of the component much more easy. Also, we decided to hide the cross-object configuration by default, because you don't always want to create a cross-object job, only sometimes. So if you want to do that, you simply click on the Add Cross-Object button, which allows you to select a secondary object. Then, of course, we select the scenario. So we can select multiple scenarios. We can select one scenario, so it's up to you. And we're able to set a filter. And using the filter, we've implemented the new filter component, which we use in all other apps as well, which allow you to use date literals, which allow you to use additional operators in comparison with the old page. So you can set even more advanced filters and really targeting subsets of your database for finding duplicate records in your Salesforce environment. So I don't have to necessarily set a filter, of course, if I don't want to, and I can continue to the next page. In the next page, we can set up a schedule if we want to. For example, if we want to run this job on Monday and Saturday every week and run it at the time that we prefer, then we can schedule this, and then we can send it to the scheduled job tab. In the current version, we did not update the scheduled job yet, but this is something which is updated in the next release cycle, which is in May. And in the scheduled job tab that we're introducing there, we can also edit scheduled jobs, which was a highly requested feature on our feedback platform. So that's coming in our upcoming release, which is pretty exciting as well. So I'm not going to schedule it for now. Just like in the old page, we can also decide if we want to already set an auto merge up, and we've built in some additional warnings indicating that what you're about to do might be dangerous. Of course, if you set a really low threshold here, then it might be that you're going to merge records that you don't want to merge. adding this auto merge to your job, you can do it before running it, and it will then execute right after the job finishes. But you can also do it anytime at a point that you prefer after the job finishes if you don't add it at this point.
Meanwhile, Ruben, we have a quick question from Terry. He's asking, when do these changes go into effect? And I do believe that this is referred to the actual update user interface. Is it correct, Terry? But as of now, all these updates are already available into your production and sandbox environment. Only the scheduler will be updated in the next release. Is it correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and if you're still on the old page, then you can use the activate DC job beta button to go from the old page to the new page. If you currently do not see it, I'm reading your chat right now, then you should check out what version you are. You might not be on the latest version. And if not, you can shoot us a message via support@cloudly.com and we can help you get to the latest version.
Yeah, there is some more question also. On the new version, people cannot find where the scheduled jobs are.
Yeah, the scheduled jobs in the new version, I'm going to show you in a second, but we're now in the middle of this model. I don't want to close it. But there is a way of switching to the scheduled job, and I'm going to show you in a second. So in the process of starting a new job, we selected the records, of course. We defined job options. Well, actually, we didn't, but there are job options. And by clicking next, we get to the processing options page, which is new. And of course, Duplicate Check is running native to the Salesforce platform, which is one of our USPs, because it allows us to analyze data without transferring it off the Salesforce servers, which is always interesting from a security point of view. However, in Salesforce, we have to deal with governor limits. We have to deal with other platform limits. We have to deal with the Salesforce servers and their speed and their performance capabilities, which you might also recognize is not always the quickest. So that's the reason why we, some years ago, introduced DC Local. And DC Local is a desktop application which you can download, which some of you might be using already, which you can use to do the calculations of finding duplicate records in your data. Can be done using the hardware of your local device, so your laptop or server. Works really nice. And now you have the option to send it either to the Salesforce platform and run it there, or to run it on DC Local. And we do a recommendation based on the number of records you have selected. So right now, in my demo environment, I only have 56 leads. So the recommendation is that it has to be run, or we advise it to be run on the Salesforce platform. So you don't have to use DC Local. If you have more than 15,000 records, we recommend DC Local. And right now, there's also a third processing options, which we'll talk about in a second, which is called Plauti Cloud. And Nicolas is going to tell you a little bit more about that in a second, after we finish the job overview additions. So I'm now going to run it on the Salesforce platform. You can see the new job card is added, right? And you can see that it's processing. And if I now go to the info icon here, then you can see that we will store additional metadata, which is pretty nice. So we can see the time that it takes for the job to complete, which is in this case 20 seconds, just completed at the top. You can see where it was processed. You can see what scenario were applied. And a good thing is that if you switch to the applied scenario step, we will now store as static information what scenario was used for starting this job for finding the duplicate records. Because what we did before, we also stored what scenario was used, but we didn't store what was actually in the scenario, So you had no point of reference on how the duplicates actually were found, because we only referenced the name and not the settings of the scenario. So now whenever you start a scenario, or whenever you start a job, sorry, we will store in the database exactly what settings were used in finding these duplicate records, which is pretty nice. So in our next release, there will be a merge log tab over here, which you can see exactly what was merged, who merged it, what method was used, so auto merge or quick merge or manual merge. So you can find out exactly what happened in the life cycle of that job. Now, something that we added as well, if you go to the job options, and if you go to the auto merge, you have the auto merge module here, in which you can set a threshold. So you can say everything that has a matching percentage of 90% and up, I want to automatically merge. So this was already part of the old job page as well, but what we now added is the duplicate group filter. Also, this was one of the most requested features in a redesign of this page, because this allows you to add a filter on the records that you found as duplicates that you want to take into account when merging records. And in this version, we can do it based on group metadata. For example, you could decide to take the group pair count and say, I only want to merge the duplicate groups that have one pair, so a one-on-one relationship. And all the duplicates that have more pairs, so maybe groups of 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 records, I always want to take a look at manually, so with a human eye, to verify if they're really duplicates before doing a merge that might be sensitive. So in this version, we can now set up filters based on group metadata to filter the results that you have in a job and only merge records that meet the filter criteria that you set. In the next release, which is again in May, we are adding an object filter here as well. So you can say only merge groups that have one pair that are from the United States or that are from the Netherlands. So you can pick any field and any value that is in your object to also meet as criteria in the filter. So I'm now clicking next, and then again we have the processing option. So also merging we can do on platform, but we can also do it using DC Local and Plaudy Cloud. And Local and Plaudy Cloud are recommended if you're merging a lot of records, because it's much quicker and much more efficient to do it via the other processing options. So what is also new here is a confirmation model, because we saw in the past that people accidentally merged jobs that they did not want to merge, because they were clicking through the merge modal and all of a sudden the process was already starting. Now we making it so difficult for you to start the process that you must be really sure about what you're doing. So we're asking you to acknowledge what you're doing. So I acknowledge that starting this auto merge job will merge 5 duplicate records, and that merging records cannot be undone. And only if you switch this toggle over here, you can start the job, and it will add the subjob to your job card.
Pretty cool.
All right, then something we've added as well upon high requests was the ability to delete jobs in bulk. So we have a delete jobs module over here, in which we can say, I would like to delete all the jobs, for example, that do not contain any duplicate results. So jobs that are empty, for example. And we've seen a lot with our customers that they create a lot of jobs on a daily basis. Maybe they schedule their jobs, and after a year or two, they end up with thousands and thousands of empty jobs. Well, using the delete jobs model, you can now delete them in one go, freeing up storage space, which is really nice. You can also segment on other jobs, for example, within a certain date range, or you only want to delete the web to lead jobs, for example. So you can make a segmentation and then start an asynchronous process to delete the jobs that you've selected to delete, to clean up the duplicate jobs that are in there. So that's basically what we have in terms of new functionality in this current page. So we're going to talk about Plaudy Cloud in a second, the third processing option that we have. But before we do that, we've written a blog on our website, plaudy.com, and there's one section about our roadmap. So just to tell you once more what we're going to do in the near future. So the scheduled jobs is something that we're adding in the next release with the ability to edit the scheduled jobs, which is really nice. We're going to add the merge log and the convert log, which keeps track of exactly what happens in terms of merging and converting and who did it. We're going to bring out the merge filter using object fields. So you can not only do it on group metadata, but also on object fields and values. And a convert filter as well. So you can do a similar thing for when you convert records. So these new features will be part of our upcoming release in the May release cycle. So there was a question about scheduled jobs. So you can switch between your views over here. So we're now in the job overview, and you can click here to go to the scheduled job overview. But for now, you will still go to the old scheduled job overview, which was part of the old page. But in the upcoming release, you will find the updated version at that location. Nicola, before we move to Plaudy, are there any questions about this part?
Yeah, so there's a little bit more questions related to future plans. If you want, we can cover them now, or we can keep it for the Q&A section.
Yeah, it's up to you. If you think it's relevant for now, then we can do it. Otherwise, we can do it at the end.
No, let's do them now. Maybe, yeah, we can pick up a question from Samuel is asking, will the old one with the data still be available as we use the new one? So between switching on the beta DC job and the old DC job overview?
Yeah, that's a good question. The short answer is yes. So if I switch back now, you can see that that we have the same information as in the new job overview. So everything is backwards compatible. The only thing that's not backwards compatible is the new features that we introduced in the beta version will not reflect in the old version. The reason for this is that the old version is based on Visualforce, which is not something that we want to use in the future anymore. So in a few release cycles, we're going to say goodbye to this old page, and we're going to move to the new Lightning version of the job page. It will take some time before we do that, but that's the end goal. But everything for now is backwards compatible. So if you want to keep using the old page for now, that's not an issue.
Awesome. Also, one question from Tracy. It was about the auto merge. She's asking, can I set the max record merge every day? For example, if 120 dupes are found, I want to set the merge to 50 every day.
A good question. So that's not part of the functionality. So we can set filters on the metadata and on object filters in the next release. But we're not able to set a maximum number of merges that the auto merge can do. So that's not something that's in the app. If there's something that's important for you, and if others feel the same way, feel free to post something on our feedback platform, feedback.plaudy.com, in which we collect IDs like this, and other people can vote and share and comment on the IDs, and everything that is voted up and is on the top of the list, we tend to take up and develop in our application. So would be really nice to see your response there.
Also, one quick question from Helen. Can you schedule delete job, for instance, allow always delete jobs with 0 records automatically?
So we cannot schedule delete jobs from duplicate check. One thing that comes to mind right away is the data action platform that we have, which is able to schedule batch job, doing a mass delete on any object in Salesforce. So you could use data action platform for that actually, but there is no way of doing this automatically right now. So that would mean that you'd have to do it via the modal and set up your parameters and click the delete button.
All right, I see a lot of questions coming up. I think they're all relevant. We should keep it in this section. So Nicole is asking, a feature was removed that I would like to see put back, the ability to delete the job from the result page. I used to do this after completing a manual merge, and I would like to save, and it would save me having it to go back to the jobs page and delete them from there.
Okay, that's fair. So I guess you refer to the old results page then. That if you process all the results, that you'll get a delete button here, which is actually a nice idea. So I don't know exactly why it's removed, but I'm going to check out if we can get it back.
Awesome. Let's see. And then one quick last one from Shanti is asking, it would be great if we could, there is a clone feature of jobs.
Oh yeah, there is actually, we call that restart. So if you want to restart a certain job, then you can simply click the restart button, and then it will restart the find duplicates task based on the initial configuration that you put in. So if you put in filters, for example, or did a cross object job, then we will restart that job to see if there are new duplicates based on that configuration. And you're now sending a new comment that you want to change the conditions while cloning it. Yeah, that's not part of it, but what you could do in when we have the scheduled job feature, in the scheduled job feature, you can schedule a job based on your configuration, so all your difficult filters and all your difficult setup, and you can deactivate that scheduled job, and you can start a deactivated scheduled job by clicking the Start Now button. So in that way, you have a job standing by, which is deactivated for a schedule, which you can edit. So you can change parameters. You can change the filter, for example, then save it, and then you can start it from there.
Awesome. I guess one last question maybe, and then we move along with the next segment is with the auto merge, how many filters are able to use? Also, can we apply the filter logic?
Yeah, so there is no limit on the number of filters that you can use. And we can indeed also set up filter logic. So you can say, for example, group number has to be greater than 0. But group number has to be less than 99 or whatever. And then we have filter logic, and you can say 1 and 2, for example. So you can set up as many filter lines as you'd like. So that's not an issue, and use the filter logic to work with that. Also, when we have the object filter, which is going to be part of this as well, then the duplicate group filter and the object filter will work via the AND method. It will both be applied in your filter.
Awesome. So yeah, let's move along to the next section, shall we?
Yeah. Also concerning the time that we have, of course. So when we add that new job. And of course, which we already saw, it's a Plaudy Cloud job. So we can start a Plaudy Cloud job. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's what I'm going to put in as a name. I'm going to do it for the lead object. And then I'm selecting the scenario again, the scenario that I want to use for finding duplicate records. And I'm not going to set up job options, but I am able to do that if I want to, also in combination with a Plaudy Cloud job. And instead of doing it on the Salesforce platform or using DC Local, we're now introducing a new third processing option, which is pretty unique in the market, at least having the 3 options available. We're the only ones in the market that offer this. And to give you a little bit more context, Nicola is going to explain you about the concept of Cloudy Cloud.
Yep. Indeed, and as the cloud can leave it a hint, of course, we are talking about Cloudy Cloud, the new processing option from Duplicate Check. So Cloudy Cloud, as I said, offers you the ability to send duplicates, check job to be on a run or cloud on a cloud-based platform. And this offers specific advantages, of course. One, as you can see already, is the enhanced performance. Being powered by Azure, Cloudy Cloud is an adaptive engine that, according to the volume of the job itself, will efficiently and timely process your duplicates job at light speed. Another advantage, as we're talking, of course, about duplicate jobs, so you want to get rid of those no matter how many there are. That's why Cloudy Cloud can virtually process an unlimited amount of records and still be able to lift the heavy load from your Salesforce instance as you are performing other added values activities. Another, of course, advantage is the ability, as we just mentioned before, the ability to have multiple processing options. So there are many ways that you can, of course, process the jobs, and Cloudy Cloud is one of them. And of course, as you can understand, all this comes with an easy to use interface that does not require any coding, tech skills, or any maintenance from end users or power users, as it is all managed and kept tidy from the Cloudy team itself. And of course, today we are also announcing that Cloudy Cloud is available for production and sandboxes to all Duplicate Check users that, with the paid subscription for free during the beta phase. And we're very excited to show you also, of course, how Cloudy Cloud is, of course, structured and how does it work. So I will pass it again, the word to Ruben.
Yeah, thanks. Let me share my screen again to show you guys how that would work. Thanks, Nicola. Very clear explanation. So Cloudy Cloud is definitely something that you use if you have a lot of data and you want to have results in quickly. In Salesforce, we have governor limits, so we can run a job on the platform, but not more on, let's say, 2 million records. That's like a pretty absolute limit on the number of records we can process, given the fact that we have to work with governor limits. But we also have some clients that have over 15 million records, for example, and therefore we have DC Local and now Cloudy Cloud enabled. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click Cloudy Cloud. I'm going to send the job to Cloudy Cloud. You can see that's now holding. You can see the icon over here. That's a Cloudy Cloud job. So what I can do now, I can go to cloud.cloudy.com, and Nicola will share a link later as well, which we can sign into Cloudy Cloud. And we can sign in using a production Salesforce credential. And I don't know if you can see my login screen because it's coming up in a pop-up, and I don't think you can see it due to my sharing of the screen, but I'm now putting in my username and passwords. And
so we're just trusting you.
Yeah, well, I just logged in using my production Salesforce credentials, which will take me to this interface. And the way that Cloudy Cloud works is that we have to set up a connection between Cloudy Cloud and the Salesforce environment. And we can do that at the bottom, going to connections. And here we can set up a new connection. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a connection between Cloudy Cloud and my production environment, so the one that I'm now doing my demos in. And I'm going to click connect. And then again, I'm getting a pop-up, which you guys cannot see because of my sharing of the screen settings. But I'm now putting in my credentials again, my Salesforce credentials. After which I have to give access to the Salesforce platform, and I'm allowing that access right now. And I did that, and then as part of creating this connection, we have to sign a data processing agreement. Because as part of Cloudy Cloud, if you're going to use Cloudy Cloud, the data that is necessary for detecting duplicate record is transferred off the platform via secure connection to a virtual machine that we use in the Azure environment, the Azure cloud computing that we have, which is 100% safe and secure. But regarding GDPR and other privacy laws, we need to have a data processing agreement between us and you, us being the processor. So you can download it here if you want to, and you can review it whenever you feel like it. And if you're okay, then you have to confirm that we have a DPA, and then the connection between the organization and Cloudy Cloud is active. So what I can do now, I can go back to Salesforce. I can find my jobs. I lost my session, have to refresh.
Especially because we have enough time.
Exactly. And you can see that the Cloudy Cloud job is over here. So I actually didn't have to go back. And at the top left side, I can see duplicate check and I can see jobs, where I can now decide to start the Cloudy Cloud job, which is set ready because I've set it ready from Salesforce out. I can now start this job. We'll get a confirmation and I will get start this job. So now, technically, we start a virtual machine at Azure. I'm going to transfer the data with a direct connection between Salesforce and Azure, which is encrypted at transit, so it's absolutely secure. So still, Cloudy is not in possession of the data. We cannot access the data of our clients because there is a direct connection between the virtual machine and Salesforce, and the virtual machine is completely shut off of the outside world. So no one is able to access the data at any second. So this virtual machine is now starting up. It's going to find the duplicates using the cloud computing power of the Azure platform. And just so that you can get a little understanding about performance improvements here. If we were to run a job on the Salesforce platform on 2 million records, based on, let's say, 2 or 3 scenarios, it could easily take 6, 7, 8, or 9 days to complete. Because Salesforce is not really designed for running these batch processes on this number of records. Using Cloudy Cloud on 2 million records, we can have the results ready in 20 to 30 minutes, right? So that's a big, big performance improvement. And if you have even more records than that, so more than 2 million, you're not able to do it on the Salesforce platform to begin with. And we don't really have a limit on the number of records we can process using Cloudy Cloud. We have a proven track record for running jobs for over more than 50 million records using Cloudy Cloud. So that's pretty neat. Nico, I think we have
we indeed have. Yes, we indeed have a new poll. This time is a single question, of course. We want to know, when it comes to the duplicating and consolidating records within your Salesforce environment, which of the following features do you value the most, of course? Like between the options, there is like a speed and efficiency as a main priority, accuracy and completeness. The third one being like a combination of the two, of course. And the third one, we would like to actually know from you in the chat. And meanwhile, since we have a little bit limited time, Ruben, what about like during the poll, if we can share a little bit more information on the next roadmap?
Yeah, so we actually skipped that part because we already talked about that a little bit, but maybe we can do some of the questions that were left.
Sure thing. So there were a few questions already from Nestor. He was asking if there is a way to create a rule where if record X and record Y have Boolean field as true, then never allow merge of these records. This is mostly, I think, related to the merge rules, right?
Yes, that's true. So indeed, we have merge rules with duplicate check, in which you can set up the decisions that duplicate check should take on behalf of you when it's doing something automatically, like an auto merge or a quick merge or a direct processing merge. And in duplicate check, we have a plugin system which you can utilize for use cases like you just described. So with a merge plugin, we allow you to execute your own Apex code right before the merge is executed or right after the merge is executed. So if you want to stop a certain merge process based on any condition, so for example, the Boolean situation that you talk about, then we advise to write that logic in an Apex plugin. And we can share documentation with you in a second, which basically means that when the merge is initiated, we first take a look at the code that you write. So you can say, stop the merge if this and this and this field has this and this and this value. Now we can stop the merge from being processed, and then it applies to all the ways that you can execute that merge. So that is the place where you want to have this functionality. So they're called our Apex plugins. You can find it in our knowledge base if you want to know more information about that, or shoot us a message at support@plowly.com. We'd be happy to help you set this up.
Awesome. One more questions from Paul. Is it possible to put conditions in the auto merge? For example, there are two contacts that are duplicated, and I have set the criteria to take the newest information in the account field. But could I set that if the newer account is not provided account, then maintain the older? And I think that this is also falling up into this criteria.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. So we have these plugins to do something before you merge and after you merge. But we also have plugins for deciding what fields to take and what master record to take based on Apex. So if you have requirements that cannot be met by our standard merge rules, which we can set up in our setup with all the select lists and all the standard rules that we have. So if you have additional requirements, we always refer to these plugins in which you can write a little bit of code to do your specific requirement. And then we can execute that code at key moments in the merge process, in which you can alter the process and do much more extensive requirements than what we're able to do out of the box.
Awesome. And as we are approaching, the Q&A segment, which we have two more questions open. One is still probably related to support. Johan is asking, I have three questions. One is, how can I activate the new view? That's, Johan, you can actually activate it from the DC job tab. And on the top, you can say, you can hit the button, activate DC job beta. I've had a problem with duplicate check. It says like when I try to dedupe two accounts with consistency, I always get an error message, entity is deleted. These issues have been fixed with this update, yes or no? And the last question from Juan is there any settings that allow me to compare only one group, for example, like all the contacts in USA with all the information, in this case, contacts?
Okay, good question. So the first one, Nicola answered, right? So you can switch using these buttons here. Your second question, this is something you would have to find out with our support team if this is already resolved. So I don't have any knowledge about this specific case, so I can't help you with that at this moment. And your third question, is there any setting that allows me to compare only one group, like contacts from the USA with all contacts? So that is definitely possible using the filter system. I can quickly show you. So you can set up a new job, for example, in the contacts, and then find your contact object. And you select your scenario that you want to use. And then at the filter setup, you're able to set up two filters actually. So you can compare with that a subset of data with another subset of data. So if we find the mailing country field, for example, equal to USA, then we can set up a secondary filter if we want to compare the record from USA with Canada, for example, if this is a requirement for you.
Hold on
So
a second,
set up-
Ruben, just interrupt you super quickly. Are you sharing something?
Yes.
Sorry, because I think I override your screen. Yeah, go over again, sorry.
Okay, I'll try to reshare. Can you see my screen again? Okay. So subset with subset, but you can also do subset with everything or everything with subset. So instead of setting a filter, you can say, compare this subset which I've created with all records. And that does exactly what you just described. Hope that answered your question.
All right, and then we have also one question from Jakub, is asking if we are planning to add metadata filters to direct processing as well.
Yeah, that's also a good question. So this is something that we currently can do already using the direct processing plugin. And again, it's in the lane of the story that we just went to. So we have all these plugins, so merge plugins, we have convert plugins, we have plugins for deciding a master, deciding what fields to take, all based on Apex code, which is really nice because it allows you to customize our process to exactly your specific needs and requirements. And we have the same thing for direct processing. So we have a direct processing plugin. So before we directly process your record and merge it via direct processing, we execute the code that you've written in that plugin. And this will allow you to, for example, say only do the direct processing if the pair count is 1, or only do the direct processing if this checkbox is set to true or whatever. So you can write your own custom required logic in that plugin. And the link that Nicolas sent in the chat reflects information on how to set that up as well.
Awesome. All right, I see no more question coming in. And I will wrap it up then, Ruben, shall we? I guess we went a little bit over the time. So just a quick thank you again on your time today, of course. But before we go, we just want to stress out again, Plauti Cloud beta is free and available for duplicate check and Plauti data management partners who are willing to benefiting from high performances, the duplication and consolidation for large volume records. So get started with Plauti Cloud beta today. And you can actually, reach us at https://cloud.plauti.com. And of course, we also I encourage you to feel free to try all our products today, our deduplication component, our validation, our data action platform, and of course, the Plauti data management suite. And you can reach them, of course, by searching them on the App Exchange or chat with our sales team on the website, or even from the link that I just dropped in the chat. And with this, we thank you all for joining us today. We will be sharing the recording afterwards, so don't worry if you missed some of the answers. And as always, if you have any more questions related to data action platform, record validation, duplicate check, and Plauti data management suite, feel free to over to our website, and our teams of experts is waiting for you to answer any question, and even to have a dedicated demo scheduled and made for you. Thanks again for watching us, and until next time. Ciao.